It has a really interesting poster, but is the movie interesting? Let's talk about it. Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel. My name is Ryan, and today on the channel I'm going to be discussing a Shudder horror original film called History of Evil, which will premiering on the Shudder streaming service on February 23rd, and I got an early screener to let you guys know if this film is worth a watch. If you're new to the channel, why not hit the subscribe button? I do all kinds of reviews, and I cover all genres on this channel. History of Evil was directed by Mirosseni, and this is his directorial debut. The film stars Cruz, Tordy Clark, and Paul Wesley, and it is about a family that's on the run in a corrupt state, and they take refuge in a safe house. The director was inspired to make this film after his parents' experiences in the Iranian Revolution. Now this film, it has a Christian-approved militia that has digital Bibles. There's a lot of political and lots of religious oppression within this future, and it's set in 2045. We get a little bit of exposition as to what's going on, and you have this mother who has escaped from prison. She is a book author. She's with her husband, her daughter, and then this political activist that is taking them to this rundown house, and they have to go through a checkpoint, and that's when this film starts off, and we get to hear about the different wanted criminals, and they have a tracker on the daughter as well. So when they're going through this checkpoint, there is a little bit of tension because you just don't really know exactly what's going on right away, because the film kind of drops you in and you don't know really too much about these characters. This film does have some pretty decent production design. It definitely has its style, and it's trying to go for a futuristic setting, which I do think that it does accomplish, but it also has recognizable devices that you would see like in today's times. When they go down to this rundown house, I like the style of it. It feels kind of like a stylish 50s kind of aesthetic they're trying to do. It has some saturated colors to it, and I did like the location and the fact that it's an evil house and it has an evil past. I was really on board with that, but I was also really curious is how the fact that he was going to go in this futuristic world, tie that all together, and then put ghosts in there as well. How is that going to mix and mesh? I could tell that this director really was influenced by horror films. Specifically, I think Stephen King, because there was one character that really reminded me of The Shining, some of the aesthetic that definitely reminded me of some Stephen King films, and I could tell that he was trying to go for a little bit more over-the-top character and gradually increase his madness as the film went on. And that's where I think he was really trying to accomplish with this film. But I don't really think everything that he's trying to do here in this film specifically works. I wasn't impressed with the character, specifically the mother here. She's supposed to be this author who really opens up her mouth. She escapes from prison, and she's going to this safe house. They're going to protect her. And there's not a lot about her character. The film, it goes in a really fast pace, specifically in the beginning of the film, where we're just dropped into the film. We get a little bit of exposition. We're pretty much into the house pretty much right away, which then the film, the pacing actually slows down, and I think the pacing of the film is just not very good from that point forward. What I was really interested to see is the fact that we have this futuristic world. How's it going to tie into this house? Now this house, it has an evil past, obviously, so I'm thinking there's a lot of horror type things that are going to go on, right? Now there is a few strange little things that really happen in the house, specifically in the ghost range. If you really like Ghost, there's definitely some of that in here, but I think the problem with it is there's not a lot of tension. There's a lot of times too where there's no score, it's very quiet, there's not a lot going on, and it was just really hard to really grip me throughout this story. I just didn't really think the ghosts really fit with the narrative of this futuristic world. I think the futuristic world, you do see times where the militia is trying to go after this woman. You have like the drones, and they're trying to search for different people. I think that really worked with the film. I think he could have got rid of the ghosts. You could have had this house still where they were being hunted with, you know, the militia and all the different bad guys going after them. The ghost here, it really just kind of derails the film. It bogs it down a little bit. and it's not scary. It's just kind of random things happening, and I just didn't feel like it really helped the film. I think it really killed the film. The relationship between the mother and father here, I thought it was very bare bones and very minimal. You know that they don't get along. They have different parenting ways. They're definitely fighting throughout here, but I never really understood quite why, and it was very hard to get into a lot of the drama with the family. There's certain characters that completely flip a switch and they just go completely berserk, and by the time they actually do that, it feels very unearned because they just don't do a really good job of developing the characters. I just don't agree with the fact that we were dropped into this film and we have quite a bit of time to actually develop these characters because of the pacing being a lot slower. Adding in like a little bit of the horror factors. There's a horror trope of like a dog going missing. There's just not enough going on, and the writing here, it definitely suffers. Obviously with this director, it's his first film that he actually wrote, and I just feel like it should have went back into the editing room and definitely resurfaced, re-looked at, and just kind of rework the script a little bit because it just feels very overstuffed. It feels like the director wants to do a lot of different things here. You kind of have that sci-fi kind of thing, then you have horror, you have ghost, you have a family drama aspect. It's too much. It's way too much, and it becomes a little bit bogged down by certain elements that really diminish it from the horror perspective, but then it really just doesn't really go into the sci-fi route either because it can't really pick a tone and can't really pick a genre. I just don't think it works. And I hate to say this, but I was very bored watching this film because the pacing is just agonizing to sit through because there's just not a lot going on. It's very quiet. It doesn't feel like there's a lot of tension really brewing, and then tension actually occurs towards the end of the film and you're like, that just feels very unearned. So that's why I can only say that I would give a score of this film a 1.5 out of 5. And that is a shame because just reading the premise alone, I was like, this sounds like it's going to be really good. And the fact that I had that mixing of genres, I was just really hoping that the director could capitalize on that. And unfortunately, he just doesn't here. Let me know down in the comments, what did you guys think of History of Evil? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Did you just think it was kind of meh? And let me know down in the comments, what is your favorite futuristic kind of world film or ghost horror film? Leave any and all comments down in the comment section. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time.